the well-worn formulation that amateurs study tactics, while professionals study logistics has significant explanatory power when considering the rapidly changing balance of power in the Western Pacific. This derives from the single, unalterable fact that Beijing will operate on interior lines in almost any scenario in that theater, while Washington will operate on exterior lines in such a conflict. Thus, the People's Liberation Army, PLA, will not only bring more initial firepower to any fight, but perhaps more importantly, can sustain that immense volume of firepower. Blue forces, by contrast, will be operating at the end of very long and likely tenuous supply lines for an extended period. During the Korean War, initial Chinese offensives were quite successful, but the PLA eventually outran its supply lines and proved unable to dislodge UN forces from the peninsula, resulting in the stalemate on the 38th parallel. In that conflict, PLA logistics supply was relentlessly pounded by US air power, and Chinese forces at the front suffered accordingly. That original trial by fire made a deep impression upon the PLA regarding the importance of military logistics. Today, there is every reason to believe that China could move forces forward surreptitiously and effectively, not only to provide a stunning initial blow, but also to maintain PLA combat power. A window into the PLA's current thinking on logistics preparation is provided by a recent article, 2017, number 4, in the Chinese military journal Military Economic Research, written by two professors from China National Defense University. The article is a case study of British logistics mobility in the Falklands War, or, as Chinese term the conflict, the Malvinas War. As I have written elsewhere, Chinese strategists have studied all aspects of the Falklands War, including especially aerial, undersea, and amphibious dimensions. Special emphasis is placed in this article on the rapid mobilization, size, and efficiency of the merchant armada that was assembled to accompany the Royal Navy's expeditionary force. The Chinese article notes that the 67 merchant vessels sent with the British fleet were about equal to the number of warships dispatched and comprised just over double the tonnage. The Chinese strategists are impressed that the large quantity of mobility assets could be organized so quickly, beginning just 2 days after the war began. Rapid upgrades of these merchant ships included adding helicopter landing pads, equipment for at-sea resupply, as well as modernized communications and rescue equipment. Average time for these upgrades is reported by these Chinese analysts to have been just 72 hours. 300 different private enterprises, they explain, were involved in this crucial work. The Chinese marvel over almost all aspects of the meticulous preparations undertaken by the British, down to the impressively elaborate meal services. They attribute part of the successful logistical planning to the early application of computer modeling. Another reason for Britain's success in this respect is attributed to preparations that had been undertaken for both unexpected events, as well as military planning for a hypothetical European war. The authors explain that London had drawn up plans in 1978 to assemble a merchant armada of 300 vessels to support NATO planning requirements. Moreover, the British military exercises of its logistics system are evaluated here to have been rigorous. Indeed, this Chinese military analysis puts a premium on the quality of British logistics personnel, both in terms of training and also motivation. Logistics personnel in the British system at that time were drawn strictly from retirees and volunteers, according to this article. Not only were such personnel expected to drill in military exercises 31 days out of the year, but merchant vessels were often brought in for exercises with fleet units. The analysis goes into significant detail in discussing the various pay benefits and subsidies accorded to these personnel, who were not active duty military, but were nonetheless participating in military drills or operations. There is, moreover, a discussion of a system that could mobilize logistics personnel for 12-hour, 24-hour, and 3-day requirements. In general, the need to form an efficient system to respond to a National Defense Ministry emergency dispatch is emphasized.